So our plans didn't really work out the way we planned them to.
We had plans?
We had plans. They fell apart.
Everything falls apart for some reason.
All the time, constantly.
It sucks.
I don't know why this always happens to us. We're such organized people.
I try to be.
Well, yeah, we try to be. You know what? Just cue the intro. Hello guys, it's Two Latin Brothers Podcast, also known as T.L.B.P. I'm Victor.
And I'm Adrian.
And we've brought a guest, one you all know and love. My sister is back at it again.
Back at it again.
Back at it again. If you'd like to say hi.
Hi, everyone.
So we've brought her back on.
Yeah.
Because we failed.
No, okay, look. So in all fairness, I'm going to address this on the podcast so people are like, what's going on? Okay, so I reached out to 8 people. 8 people. I reached out to 8 people to possibly be on this podcast. And not to be mean, but like all those 8 people, you all failed me. That's it. It's over. No, I'm kidding. But I get it. Like, if you don't want to be on the podcast, I get that, and I'm very understanding. I get that people have lives, and my need for you to be available isn't priority.
I'm not understanding at all. I'm like, you betrayed me. Just full on betray. I trust.
No, it's not like that. Like, I mean no bad will against them, and I get that. Like, you know, it's a podcast, and you know, it's a whole thing, and
it's all good. I'm honored to be the OG backup, guys.
Well, I mean, okay, so here's the thing. So I was like to my sister, I like, what was it, like yesterday, the day before, I'm like, hey, do you want to be a guest? Because I've been like trying to reach out to people for like the last couple of days and no one's getting back to me. And if someone does get back to me at this point, there's no way I'm going to be able to schedule them in the next 72 hours to record this and have it uploaded in time for Friday.
In all fairness, it's been almost a year since I've been on, so.
Yeah. So one of the things I was like, recently, me and Victor both reapplied to college, and I was like, we have you on, we'll talk about it, and we'll reminisce about how, you know, we both went through the education system. You went through something else, and I went through something else, and Victor's also going to start soon, so I said we could talk about that. And you're like, okay, so let's do it. So here we are, recording, and we're doing that. So here we are.
It's time to reminisce about your stressful years.
Oh, goodness.
Let's flashback. Let's all look into the corner. Just joking. You can't do that.
Let's all look into the corner.
See, if this was a video podcast, I'd actually look at the corner and get some guy to edit.
That little harp music in the background.
Yeah, the little, you know what I'm saying?
Play some violins.
No, not violins. Always go with the harp.
It's always harp when you flashback. The reminiscence. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. You know, I'm like that. Literally, we were talking about this earlier. How I'm the comic relief of like this show. You know. I don't know. I mean,
you have your moments.
I mean, there's a lot of things I have to cut out.
I mean, because I go on.
I know. So I'm just saying.
I'd be great at a dry bar.
Hey, look. If anything, it's my editing that makes you come off like this.
Wait, what? Excuse me?
Yeah, there are like I have to chop out certain words you say, and it doesn't even sound like I chop anything out.
Yeah, because
so, you know, and then like casually you'll try to like a name drop, and then be like, you know, you'll just pause.
I won't name drop. I've never name dropped. Like that one guy. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's the kind of stuff I have to edit. I'm going to leave that in so they have context to what we're talking about.
All right. So
anyway, but I thought I'd ask you, like, do you remember, like, when you started, like, before, because, okay, for starters, you went to university and I went to college. You remember, like, the initial part of it, like, right before it started, like, that feeling?
Application time.
No, like after that, like, you know, like it's August, like the last week of August, you start in 2 weeks, like.
What was your preparation?
She doesn't even remember.
I mean, it's been a while, but no, I think I was excited. Because you had to have gone already through the whole like application process, and there were certain like documents you had to pick up, and you had to get your ID card and like all that stuff. So I had been in the building and on campus for a bit already, so I was pretty familiar with it. But overall, I think I was excited. To start a new chapter, really. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's always the butterflies the first night before, and.
Okay, now let's skip all of that and go. How was your first day? Do you remember the first day you stepped on
your very
campus?
first class?
Oh goodness!
What class was it to begin with?
It was.
She doesn't remember it. I know it.
Introduction to It was a 101 class introduction
To something.
Yeah,
To something. It was an orientation, as they so call it in quotation.
That's really what it was.
Well, literally the first day of whatever class you're in, like usually in your case, the dean would show up, talk to everybody there. In your case, the prom coordinator will show up, talk to everybody there, be like, hey, welcome to the program. Hope you have a good time. Hopefully you graduate. And if you need me, here's my email.
See, if I was program coordinator, I'd be like, welcome to hell.
I think one of the things actually that surprised me was my professor, my first professor for that 101 class. She was very young or she seemed very young to me. So I was quite shocked, and I was like, well, what do I do to be you? Because I was like, you look young and you got a pretty good job. So yeah. It was a pretty big lecture hall, probably about 400 students, I would say.
Good crowd.
Never have a class that big.
Yeah, no.
Unless, of course, you see, the thing is
see, I haven't had a class that big, but I've talked to that many people.
See, that's the thing. So, like, in my case, it's like, all the classes are, like, not that big, like, maybe 100, maybe 100, depending on what classroom it is. But there's only, like, one really big lecture hall at the college, because Victor's going to go to the college I went to. So there's only one really big lecture hall where they can have more than 100 people in there. So other than that, you won't have like huge lecture halls.
Well, I'm exaggerating a bit here, but they were pretty big lecture halls.
I've seen the lecture halls.
The way she's talking,
and like there's this one where like there are multiple, like that one in that.
It's like 3 movie theaters in one.
It's huge. And I was like, I would lose, like, if I were a student in there, like, the person talking in front, if I said hi and I waited like a month to say hi again, they'd be like, who are you?
I'd hate being late. It'd be like, I see the professor over there, the little ant guy right there, you know what I'm saying?
Like, way at the back. No, it's really bizarre. Like, in my case, because, you know, you just, my walkthrough was so different because...
I mean, as you go through the years, the lecture halls get smaller and smaller, right? Because either you don't make it, the
competitiveness of each program and course.
Yeah, for sure.
It gets harder, right, every year, right? So I remember actually my first year. Everybody in the room was asked who got in with a scholarship, and pretty much it was quite a bit of people that we put our hands up. And then the following year, everybody's like, so who still has their scholarship? And everybody kind of just looked at each other, and not too many hands went up. And like as the years went by, it just got like worse and worse.
Well, yeah, because it's like, well, for university you really need a scholarship because of how expensive it is. Yeah. And like in our case, like when you're in college, you literally survive off grants. Like grants are the way to go.
Grants, bursaries.
Yeah, and you can apply for them, so it's really nice.
You could apply for those as well.
Well, yeah, but we don't get scholarships because we're not trying to be scholars. We're just trying to get a job done.
I mean, we're literally college is more hands-on. Yeah. That's the only difference.
Like, I'm trying to learn how to use this hand to do something, and I'm paying them to let me, like, anyway. But the thing is that, I remember my very first day, actually no, the week before school started, I went into the campus and I was like, I need to get lost. And you're looking at me in confusion, like, why would anybody do this? And the reason I did this was because, one of the people, when I went for a tour and something, they told me that they're like, hey, come to the campus a week before and get lost. Like on purpose. They're like, because then you'll figure it out. Like you'll figure out the campus and you'll learn the layout of how it is. And then after that, they're like, whatever room you have to go to, all your classmates are going to be following you because you're going to be the only one who knows where he's going or she's going. Right. So, that was what I did. So I showed up a week early. I walked through the entire campus, I think like twice. And like the layout is pretty straightforward. Like it's not that easy to get lost. The only building there's only one building that you can get lost in. And it's literally like a maze. Like the corridors are so narrow, and
I think I know what building.
And they're all like offices. And the building, for starters, the guy who designed the building
so narrow
used to design prisons. So this building is literally like it's concrete. There's no like there's brick wall. Like
you can't even make phone calls.
I mean, you can, but like
depending where you're standing,
like the calls will cut or whatever, it's a whole thing. But I remember, so my very first class was like an orientation class. I can't remember. Like I remember exactly what what class it was, and it was also an intro class. Interestingly enough, I think all the first classes are an intro class. But I remember the prom coordinator came and he talked to us, and then he dropped the bomb that there were like something like 500 students in the program. And then I remember like 3 to 4 months later, when our next semester started, he came in to tell us that there were only 200 people left, and I was like, almost half of the people just disappeared. And what was interesting was in like because they divide you into sections, like in the program, I was like the youngest one in my section, like I was the baby of the class, and nobody knew how old I was at the beginning of the prom. Then when I started telling people, they were like, whoa, like why are you like
you're so young?
Yeah. And then later on I found out that there was another section where all the young people were, but half of that section basically just disappeared because all those people were the ones to drop out. So then they were just starting to slide them into like all the other sections with all the older people.
Wow.
And I was crazy. Like, why didn't I make the cut like initially? Like I should have thought, young you. Why was I the prize? But then
yeah, the only time pretty much, I mean, I didn't have too many people that were, like I would say older in my classes, pretty much in at least the first couple years, introductory classes. But I remember like I'm wrong. A couple introduction classes, I'd have a couple, people who were older. I think there was this one man I remember, I don't even remember what class it was, but, I think it was in my second or third year. He was probably in his 60s.
Wow.
And he had the full white hair, and he was there, and he was like, that go-getter, keen, on time, with his books all out, and I was just like, you gotta love this, like, with
the first one to complain when the prof is late.
Like, you gotta love this with a passion to be doing this at that age, and I love that. It's inspiring to see that.
Oh yeah, like
it's never too late if you haven't been to school or you're thinking about it. It's never too late. Like it's always.
And apparently, it's never too early if you're gifted.
Oh yeah, no, I've told the story before about my first year in college. How there was like a guy who was in their 70s and then a kid who was like 12 in the same class. Like it was just crazy. But what was so interesting to me was like it's always like that. Like the elderly who show. I mean, not the elderly, but the older people are that show up. They're so determined and they talk to you like, I'm gonna get a job after this. Like I am here to get a job.
I'm planning my life right now.
Yeah, and I'm like, how long do you expect, dude? Like most people, I haven't even made it this far, and you're out here like trying to get a new career, and it's amazing. It's really it really is inspiring. I remember that we would always joke about how, like, I remember that one guy, he was older than like all of our profs. So it was like always funny when the professor would talk and says, well, at my age, and then he'd be like, at your age, excuse me. Yeah. Like it was always like this like funny like quirk thing. So how do you feel
about what?
About like, cause like we've both been through this, and you kind of grew up watching us go through it.
I mean,
I've gone through it twice.
I mean, not really. I mean, you weren't doing any of the studying and long nights where
but I sat
all-nighters. Oh goodness.
Oh, I sat there.
You weren't there for that.
I was there for some.
The anxiety, the stress.
I could feel it right off.
The debt. Like you got none of that.
Yeah, no. Our dog used to stay up with me with my all-nighters. I'll remember that one.
I never got to live that.
Really? No, I
definitely won't.
I was still in high school when our dog passed away.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, he used to come up to the, because I would always be at the table in our living room, and that's where like I loved to study when I was pulling all-nighters. And he would just come from the kitchen or wherever he was, and then he would just come at my feet and just sit there or just stare at me or warm me up in the winters. Come and cuddle up next to me. So yeah, he was my companion for those all-nighters. I'm very glad he was there for that.
Great, I'm gonna be a loner.
No, because so here's the thing. So I'm going back to college at the same time Victor's going to start a college. So we're gonna be pulling all-nighters together, my friend. It's gonna be really interesting. But
I'll bring the energy drinks.
You cannot get hooked on that stuff.
No, I don't recommend it.
Don't know, honestly, because I've seen people crash and it ain't pretty.
I don't even recommend it.
Some people walk away.
Various health conditions.
Oh, I remember.
I pushed it. I think my first couple years, I was like 6 cups of coffee.
You can get many. Whoa.
No, I remember.
That can cause cardiovascular stress, which is actually
it was
not
pretty
even good
bad.
for you and could shut you down.
No, I remember there was this guy, a friend of ours, who also went to college, the same college I went to, and the college you're gonna go to. One of his friends would drink the Monster energy drinks, and he would drink like 4 a day or something like that, and just to function. And I'm like, hey, have you heard of this thing called sleep? And he's like, I don't got time. Like because they were taking accounting at the time, and he was like crunching numbers. Like I gotta crunch numbers all night. Like I don't have time for this. And I was like, okay. And I remember somehow we talked him into stopping to drink so many energy drinks, and like for a full week he looked like a recovering drug addict. Like he just looked so dead all the time.
See, I recommend, like, if you're really pushed to that brink where you're like, I'm thinking of taking an energy drink, you should try to extend that one energy drink throughout your entire day.
Well,
Yeah,
like in
no,
my case,
I never took any.
I mean, I've tasted like Red Bull and like Monsters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's just a bunch of sugar.
Yeah.
If I really
like-
want that, I can just go get some Kool-Aid.
yeah. Well, see,
For
my
me, for instance, it wasn't like purposely. It was just always the amount of cafeterias on campus was ridiculous. Like in the library cafeteria, every faculty building that you were in, there was a cafeteria, and we're gonna go study at the cafeteria. And like
It's because
even
the target consumers
on campus or off campus, and it was always like I remember I would like we'd finish up a class and be like, hey, you want to go study for this? Sure, let's go to this coffee shop, and then it'd be so every time it was like coffee.
that's the thing with
Eventually,
the
Great
college. There are
marketing idea.
only 3 cafeteria like places where you can go get food. So like, well, that's the thing, right? I don't know. There's actually 4 places where you can go to go get food. So because of that, like it's very like limiting. So like there are buildings where you can't get food at all. So like
You gotta
you're
rush
never,
to
no,
another-
you're never distracted by like there's never like the biggest issue is like the cooking area. There are classes above that where you will have a class or you'll have like a lecture sometimes, and there are kitchens all below you. So the class upstairs smells so good. You can't even focus because they're
You're
trying to
drooling all over your
no, because they're
pages.
trying to teach a chef downstairs how to cook a pie properly to the right degree. You know, like it is the work. Like it is so hard to focus in those classes. And I remember my first year, I had a class in there, and I hated it because it was at the exact same time they had I think it was like a meat cooking class. It always smelled so good. I think they were like, at one point, I thought they were barbecuing down there. I'm like, what are you guys doing? It smells so good. Give me them ribs. Like it was crazy. I remember a friend of mine's like, yo, one of these days I'm just going to sneak in there and take the food. I don't care what they say. I'm just going to go take the food and walk out.
goodness.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, no. For us, it was like every building had like, I call them like, I don't know, mini convenience stores where you could just buy like a muffin and a coffee, like little snacks and
So
stuff
like a
like
cafe.
that. Yeah, a cafe. But
like a
without a
walk-in-
seating area.
Yeah, like a walk-in cafe.
A walk-in cafe. So like all of the buildings pretty much had that. And then there was like the main campus had like the actual like where all the restaurants were and everything, or cafeteria you would call it. But yeah, no. And then there was also like just right in front of the like campus buildings or like right on the main streets.
Yeah. All the restaurants.
Yeah, or even like you would have the chip wagons. You'd
Yeah.
have like
Again, for all target consumers.
Well, like, no, 'cause, like, you
I'll
know
just
how-
say a lot of my money went to.
But what is it? You know how we have well, you guys have it like a Patin Fest. You know how that happens?
Oh yeah, we had that on campus.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh
So
my gosh.
So half of that ends up coming to us after you guys. Wow. So it's or like a few days before it ends. Like some of them come to us. So there's like this huge parking lot outside one building, and like half the parking lot is closed off because there are all these like G-Wagons, and the lines are insane for like 2 weeks, and it's so hard to go anywhere in that area. And it's like it's that one building where like it's only for people to sit around and talk.
Oh wow.
So it's like right outside that building. So it is a disaster, but it's really interesting to see.
You guys are making me hungry.
Well,
I just ate dinner.
that building also has a Starbucks in it. So like,
Oh, so I'll survive?
I mean, I
Well,
guess.
for us, it just reminded me when you're saying like everybody just talks. For us, it was like so in the campus library. I remember it's like levels of and depending on which level you were at, it was
Yeah.
like how loud it was gonna be.
Yeah.
And I remember once you got to the top level, like that was like the level where you had people, the PhDs, the doctors, the master's students, studying. library, and I mean, you would drop a pencil or a pin would drop in the room, and you would get the look. Like people would stare you down and be like, "What are you doing here? Go to the
You don't
level
belong
below here."
Yeah.
You know, and you'd go down to the next level, and it would be like bunch of groups, and like it's even the setup was like 4 groups meetings and meetups, and everybody's talking, everybody's loud.
See, because there's hangouts
It was like
and
night
then there's
and day.
study.
So like in our case, like the way the library is like the actual library is on the top floor, and it's a digital library. So like there are books, but like there are like no physical copies of the books. It's all digital.
Oh wow.
So like you can easily jump into the database and search whatever it is you're looking for and get like a million results for like a keyword that you're looking for. So you like it's super useful and super handy. You don't actually have to go like I think it's on this shelf in this book and spend 3 hours reading.
I mean, I like that.
I mean, it's super
we had
useful.
that, but we had all the books as well.
So we didn't have that. So
We had a whole library just for music.
yeah, so, well, in our case, everything's like in one location.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have like separation. But what's really interesting is that the first floor of the library is like a loud common area, like, and people walk through it because it's like a walkway to another building, and like all the buildings connect in like this one singular hallway. There's like a bunch of buildings that connect to it. So right below the library, it's like, there's always noise, and also like the registration office is there. So like there's always like huge lineups coming because it's like right below it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the floor above that, there's like this sitting area where people sit, and it's fairly quiet, but people also pass through it because it also leads to another building. And then above that is the actual library.
Oh wow.
Which is like the main end, like there's a, like if you come in through it from one side, it's super loud. And then on the other side, you walk up through the staircase, it's not that loud. And then you come around a corner and it's just like a computer lab, like just computers. And there's like little round
In
tables.
my mind, I just got mazed.
No, it's
Oh yeah.
no, it's like, it's crazy, but
You
it's
lost
like,
us.
there's like all these like little like round tables where you can sit out and talk.
I love how you're trying to break one of our rules.
I know, but like there's always like little round tables where you can talk. And then on the far end of it, like on the other end of the building.
I don't know which end you're talking about. You said it far end like 4 times.
Okay.
This is why I'm saying you're trying to break one of our rules.
Anyway,
Don't describe things.
Anyway, but there's like also along one of the right wall.
You're gonna have your private tour guide.
Along the right wall, you need to.
I'm just gonna see it.
Yeah, along the wall.
Because this is I don't know, some kind of Maze Runner stuff. I don't know what this is.
There's also like a place where you can print things. So like there's like a little printer room and stuff, and hopefully there's a stapler there because I've told this
always
story.
getting ripped off the wall.
Yeah, and then there's also like along the right wall and part of the left wall, there's like washrooms. There's like rooms that you can go into to like you have to book them in advance.
See,
So
for me, you're still at the library.
You are at the library.
Oh my gosh.
So like you can get these books, like you can't get these. You can book these like areas, so you can have like group gatherings in there, and like there are people who will book it for like a full month, like in one go. It's like crazy.
For all I know, I'm on Mars right now.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You lost me, man.
No.
So much on the
like,
far
okay,
side, and
yeah.
then on the far side, I'm like, and then the far
Okay,
side.
so look, all you gotta know is like, so like from like what from the
Don't
moment,
explain it
No,
again.
listen,
You're gonna
no,
make me go through.
No, this doesn't make sense to you. This doesn't make sense to you. So from the moment you walk in, it's loud. The further into the building you go, it has to get quieter.
Okay.
That's all you need to know. So like at the far back of the library, it's quiet. And there are like couches there.
So basically, what you're saying, extroverts in the front and then introverts in the back.
Actually, no. Most of the introverts are like at the library, and there are like a few other spots where there are just like computers. Like it's like a shared computer lab.
But it's okay.
No, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like there's a few areas in the college where like there's just computers everywhere, so like you can access.
It's like always an ASMR in there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just clicking all the time.
yes, it's very.
Man, I might fall asleep studying in there. Not gonna lie.
I mean,
One thing I really liked from was that towards the end of my studies, we had they put in a whole new building for our faculty, and I remember it was just fascinating. I just loved to go into the very top floor, and you just had like a whole view of the city. Well, not of the city, but of the area.
I've seen it. I have a picture of it.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I like that.
I've seen your picture of it.
Yeah, it's great.
Plus, I'm pretty sure it was the first time I saw toilets that flushed the opposite way. So, like, instead of the water going down, it was like coming from up top, and I was like, please don't be one of those that just wiped your butt.
That's nasty. That was
Thankfully,
way.
it wasn't one of those.
That was too descriptive. I think I just experienced
But it
myself.
it's a very modern building, and it had not a greenhouse, but like
A greenhouse.
plant. It was like energy.
A live wall.
Yeah, exactly.
We have one too.
I love that. So
Yeah.
Well, it's because you gotta be eco-friendly. Partly.
It's really funny. Like the one that we have at the college, they're always constantly having to like trim it because the plants don't stop growing. So like it'll get to a point where they'll shut down like a whole area so they can do maintenance on the wall. And then this one guy's like, why don't they just like make like vines or something? Like, but then they're gonna have to trim that too. So like, and you can hear the water running. So it's like it's a whole expense just so we can say we have plants coming out of the wall.
We want to be eco-friendly, but we only want to be partly eco-friendly. So we're just gonna designate one wall.
Well, no. See, the thing with actually, this is really cool. The building where the live wall is, there is no heater and there's no air conditioning in it.
Yeah, I knew that already.
And it's like it's self-sufficient. They got solar panels on the roof.
Yeah, that's
like
pretty
it's
much what it was
completely
like.
disconnected from the grid. And I mean that building's pretty cool because they have like those cool circle things where people can go study. I've only ever been on one of those things once because like I'm rarely ever like never.
I've been on them like 3 times.
See, in my case, I've never. It's because I never go alone to study on campus. Every time I study, I come home. Like I'm not gonna hang out on campus to study.
The gist of it, Victor, that we're giving you is like campus is big. You might get lost.
Oh, I have already on both your locations.
Oh yeah, you came. I remember. I think I brought you once.
You know what's
or twice.
interesting?
I've gone on tours, like a bunch of tours. I've gone to like the college my brother's gone to like more times than an average high schooler has gone.
Well, I remember this one time we were driving by really late. Like you guys came to pick me up. I'm like, oh, I should go show you guys the library. And we all
they had just made the library.
Well, they had just finally opened it because they renovated it. And I remember we all went into the college. Like I found a door that opens and we all walked in and we went.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. That was like it was like some super late night.
Yeah, it was like almost 10 o'clock at night, and we were walking around the college.
Like just show the whole family tour.
Yeah, it was just really nice what they had done though. But but that was the library. You guys get to see it. Any advice you'd like to give them?
Any advice?
I got all the advice already in my mind. I can literally hear her
Use your time wisely.
Oh, I knew that was gonna be number 1. Ready for number 2?
Time management
is
key. See, I knew that was gonna be number 2.
And I would say, what's another good?
Your life ends now. I'm just joking.
Enjoy it because, like, as much as
much as frustrating and how stressful it is, at the end of the day, you're gonna still miss it.
Yeah.
Because you've been raised throughout your entire life having to study for things.
Pretty much.
So basically, taking it away from you is like taking away a part of your life.
I mean, I don't know about that, but
no.
But no, I would say you don't really know what you got until it's gone, right? So
what I said.
Cliche line, but yeah, I think this kid's good. This kid's gonna be fine. He's.
I love how I took the words right out of her mouth.
He's got a good head on his shoulders. You know, he knows what he's a pretty much a go-getter too. So I think he's good.
Are you a go-getter?
Who am I getting?
Yeah.
Sometimes. But think about it, really, not really. I mean, I was,
I said no.
I was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just have fun, but not too much fun.
There was too much fun?
Yes, there is a way to have too much fun. Actually,
then it wouldn't be fun.
Look, I remember this one lecture. It's a bad story to tell, but I'm telling you. I remember this one lecture where the professor told, the professor was going over something that they had already taught. And we told him, and he said that he said that he would do it again because there had been like a snow day the week before. So he was just going to go over it for the rest of the class. So me and my friend sat at the back of the class. The entire class, we were like trying to figure out how to jailbreak his phone the entire lecture. It was like a 2-hour lecture. I'm like, why didn't we just leave? Like, we had already been through this lecture because like when the lecture started, everyone who had already been there was just like, I'm just gonna go home. Like, there's no point me being here. Like, I've already been through this class. I'm not gonna sit through it again. And we were just like, let's just stay and we're gonna figure out how to jailbreak your phone. So we sat there for like 2 hours trying to figure it out.
That's kind of how I feel now in both my classes.
But what are you looking most forward to, Victor? You say, because we've talked a lot about our fears and the buildings for some reason. I don't know how that's the highlight of our education, but
see that building?
There's a lot more that you look forward to.
I'm just looking forward to learning things that have yet to be taught. I'm eager for knowledge.
Yeah, I definitely would say my favorite, or what was rewarding to have, were those professors who you knew with their passion, the way they taught, the way they
cared about their job.
They cared about their job.
They're not just here for paycheck.
And it just made it so much much more worth it to be there.
There's always that one professor.
It would be like a movie, like that you didn't want to end, like Forrest Gump.
Joking. Okay.
There are a lot of people who didn't like that movie.
Okay, that movie was gold. I didn't want it to end.
Yeah,
okay?
that was
you just wanted to keep going for some reason.
An inside joke.
Like it was actually I genuinely enjoyed that film. I don't know why, but I genuinely liked the kid with the low IQ.
It's a long film. But anyway, so going back to it, yeah, if definitely having a professor that is passionate about what they're teaching, it makes all the difference.
Oh, yeah.
And when you don't have that, then you really gotta
feel dead inside.
You know, no, then you do your best to, you know, with your peers, make it interesting and enjoyable.
See, I've been changing my perspective. I've been trying to look at life like a video game.
How so?
How so? So basically, when I was about to start this new quad, I visualized it as a video game, and each class I go through is one level.
Oh, I see. Okay,
or that more like. Yeah, one level. So every day I go through the levels. By the time I finish the unit, I've reached my checkpoint. Know what I mean? So you can't go on until you've reached that checkpoint. Mm. So I view it as every day is a new challenge to get me more experience to make it to level 2, which is my second checkpoint.
Yeah. For me, anyway, like it would be. That's interesting.
Life is a game, in a sense.
In a sense.
Not really, but sure, okay.
That's why I said in a sense, okay? You gotta put emphasis.
Let the high schooler dream, okay?
Dream all you want. Dream on.
I mean, people live their life like a game.
I mean, some people do. But, no,
but that's why I said, like...
No,
not
I
entirely.
Think, look, I think that
But the perspective that I gave, right?
There's a lot of things that you will discover a lot about yourself in those critical moments. That's where all the growing happens, in the critical moments. You develop as an individual. And no matter how many people tell you, you won't believe them. You'll be like, yeah, that's not going to happen to me. I know what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden, you'll miss the bus and the world is falling apart. Your class starts in 45 minutes. It takes you an hour to get there. The bus ain't coming. It's snowing like crazy. Your mother can't drive you. There's everything.
You're relating to the story way too easily.
Everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong. And somehow you manage to get there on time. You walk through that door.
There's a squirrel praying in the middle of the stream. Won't move out of the way. That actually happened to me.
You get to the door and you're like, I just made it in time. And then you realize that this prof locks the door and you walk right into the door and there's a giant window. So like 12 to 20 people see you bang your head against the glass and the teacher tells you on the other side, come back when the break starts. I'm not opening the door. You're late.
See, this is why you just gotta walk around with a skeleton key and Allen keys.
Look, nobody got time for that.
See, you always find the right one.
But like,
I was lucky. I don't think I ever got locked out, and despite many times I was late.
I got locked out once, and it was
the worst.
It was the worst feeling in my life. I was like, I almost died trying to get here.
I failed at my one
and I couldn't even get inside. And then when she finally let me in, I told her, why was the door locked? And she goes, my class started 15 minutes before you got here. And I go, well, I got here. And she goes, so you missed the train. That's not my problem. And then I'm like, okay, but like, it's Canada and there's snow. And she goes, so you know that? And I went, I know, but like, I didn't think the bus would be that late. And she goes, again, not my problem. And I was just like, well, all right then. And then when she sent us her like course review or whatever, horrible. I got locked out that one time and I know you know who I am. Send.
Okay.
I did not care.
There were like,
I think she retired like 3-4 years ago.
Last quad, there was this one student in my class who was just like, oh, I can't wait until we have to rate our teachers at the end of the quad. And my business teacher was like, why? Because I'm gonna give her the worst rating of her life.
What is it? I had a professor who told us, he's like, I literally have like some of the students literally troll me like with the reviews because like we get to see them.
Yeah.
And then he's like, we get to see them and they also get sent to like the faculty head. He's like, there are people who like seriously try to be like, I've never had a professor my entire life not have a marker right on the board. And he's like, it happened one time. I forgot my markers. And the
entire class.
The person made it sound like the person who wrote the review made it sound like I never had markers on me. Like I never knew what was going on. And then if I have any of my classmates from the old program, you all know what professor I'm talking about because this actually happened with us. And like when the semester ended, somebody bought him markers because he would always like grab a marker out of his bag and he'd go to write and it wouldn't write on the board.
Oh man.
and or throw it out.
He needs the mark.
No, it's because what would happen was he would never throw out markers, so he just had a bunch of dried out markers in his bag, and it would just be a random guess every time he stuck his hand into his bag.
No.
It's let's see if I get lucky today. And then he ran the board.
He's gambling in the front of the class.
It was the whole thing, but it was.
I remember those Rate Your Prof online, the one that students would make, and then the ones that you gave in and that would be looked into by the dean.
Yeah.
I actually had one experience where my class, or a couple of classes, because I had this professor a couple times, where we actually signed a full out petition because we needed this professor to either we talked to change certain things or completely have him removed and have someone else. And I remember that was the first. It is actually hard to the process you have to go through to actually get something to be done about it. Man, it wasn't ever a struggle. I remember I was one of the people that was you want to sign here?
See, I've never understood those profs who are proud of having basically a low success rate. They're only 15 students out of the 100 and something didn't make it. Because at the same time you're your job is to teach me. If these many students are not passing your class,
something's up. Well, no, I had a.
There's also teachers,
but then there's also it depends, right? If
I've had that experience too, where I had a professor in my first year of college. Half the class failed communications. Oof. One, and it made no sense. I didn't know what was going on, and then some students complained. I didn't find out about the year after that students complained about, because it made no sense. I handed in everything. How did I fail?
Yeah.
I just never got anything back. And then there was an investigation, and nothing was ever marked. Nothing was ever graded. It was a disaster.
Teacher was falling behind.
And then if I were log into my thing, there's an N over the grade, and it says it's just it's just a little blurb that says, if this student needs this communications in the future, contact the college for further details. And then it's a phone number to call. That's what's on my record, because they didn't know if I passed or if I failed. It's just we're gonna let you go through, but we honestly have no idea what happened because we don't know what happened to all your work.
That's
Sorry.
Crazy.
Was he he had a fire and a bonfire in the back? It's just you handed it. How long did it take you? 6 hours? I'm gonna burn it now.
Yeah. So I remember it was this whole thing.
Did he not have TAs or something?
No, in college they don't have that.
Okay.
So the professor does all the grading.
Oof, that must be tough.
So, but it's 20 to 30
That's probably
students.
why they're
it's
looking
a normal
forward
high
to a
school
low
class.
success rate.
Because each professor teaches one section.
I mean,
right?
for me and my work and my caseload, it's never ending, but and I deal with a lot, and I wish I had my own little TAs. But
yeah, but it's crazy.
I'll be your assistant. Minimum wage.
No, I expect more than that. I went to school for this. No, I remember stuff like that happens. The other thing too is I realized that once you discover that you're paying for school, you're allowed to demand things.
Oh yeah,
you're a paying customer.
Well, yeah, but people forget that, and then out of fear they don't say anything. If there's a problem, you
speak up,
all within your right. And I've told.
I mean, to be fair, it's maybe the 1% of professors that aren't great and actually doing it. I remember there's pretty much maybe I would say maybe one or two professors that I really didn't. Well, one of them we were, we just were this is it. We're done. We're going to the dean's office about this. And then the other one she was just beginning. I think she was her first or second year teaching.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. We were all why are we doing so poorly in her class? We're going to her office hours out of the after classes to figure it out and everything. Yeah. And even then it was we weren't
what's
doing
the deal?
well. What's the deal? We would ask her a question in the lecture and she'd be moving on. It's you didn't answer the question.
Yeah. Oh no, I had a professor where
didn't get it the first time.
I remember a professor who he would sit on the desk at the front of the class and with a clicker in his hand, and he'd be like this is important, and just click to next slide. This is important. Click to next slide. Okay, here you see these things here. That's important. Next slide. He never explained. All he said was that this is important.
Oh my.
Or don't worry about this. And then I was, what did I learn? What did I learn from that class?
I had that last quad with a few slides because all classes have been condensed.
Yeah.
because of online learning. So teachers are just like, history, we're going to skip that. You don't really need to know that. You just need to know how it works and who made it first.
For some courses that were super dry like that, I would, or like the professor wouldn't go too much in detail, I really enjoyed, we called it our DGDs or group discussions that we'd have after class. Because then that's where you really would get like, information, right?
Yeah.
We would like, and it would be normally with a TA or something. Yeah. So then we would just be like, give us everything, give it all to us.
In college, you don't get that.
Give it all to us.
In college, you don't get that. So like, it's either like I remember
it's because in university it's all about the theory.
Yeah,
right?
But it wasn't all for all classes. I'll tell you that much. It wasn't for every course, but some courses did have that as an option.
Like I quickly realized that like if you're not friends with the smartest people, you got no idea what's going on 95% of the time. Because the people who like that, because there are always those people who are like super smart and they're basically there because they need a sheet of paper to do the job. Yeah. Like they already have enough life experience to do the job. So become friends with those people because those people are like, they know everything already. And like, if you don't get something, you can ask them and they'll explain it. And like the professor explained it in the most complicated way physically possible. And then there's one guy who's like, I've actually done this before and it's not that complicated. And then he'll explain it and you'll be like, oh, that makes so much more sense. What is he talking about?
Yeah.
Right?
Crazy.
But it's always those things. I don't know. I never let professors like get the better of me because of that. I always showed up banging on their office door till the sun came up if that's what it took.
No, but it is definitely something that I think a lot of students forget. And it's because it's not your main focus, right? You're doing everything in your power to as a student yourself to succeed that you don't really pay attention to, if there's other
problems going
on. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And like there was this one professor. I had an ethics professor who he played a clip of these dogs being like tested, like products being tested on them and like getting these injections also. And like he gave no trigger warning. And like so we had a dog, right? Growing up, all my life I had a dog and I've always loved dogs. Okay, and then he tells us that like he plays, I have this video and I want to know how you guys feel about it ethically. And like a minute into the video, I made a scene. I got up, I grabbed my bag, I'm like, I cannot watch this. And I stormed out. And then I
would have sat through it.
No, after that, like 10, 12 other people came out. And I was like sitting outside the class and like 10 and 12 people came out. And then they were all like, dude, you have no idea. I was scared to get up. Cause I was like, I cannot watch this. I cannot watch. Like I have a puppy at home. I cannot watch. Like this, like it doesn't feel right to watch this. And then like stuff like that, right? Where like it always takes like one person to cause a chain reaction. And then when the video was over, he like opened the door to tell us, hey guys, the video's over. Like you can come in. And then he asked me why I got up. I'm like, you should have given a trigger warning. Like there was no trigger warning of what the video was. I'm like, and like, I'm a dog lover. Like this is the last thing I want to see.
No disclaimer.
Like, I'm like, it's Friday night at 7:00. I don't want to be watching this. I'm here to learn. Like, I get it.
Learn, not watch.
Like, it's unethical. Puppies. We all know this. Everyone here wouldn't object to that. They're puppies. Come on. Like, it was.
Well, that means that one psycho in the class.
It was really like, it was one of those things, right? And then after the class, he's like, can I talk to you for a sec? And I go, yeah. And he goes, he's like, I've been doing that for like the last, I don't know, I want to say 7 years. I've been playing the same clip. He's like, and you're the first one to do that to me. He's like, it shows to me that ethically you're okay. And then he just walked away and I was like, okay. He's like, and then one time he was like, you should have my job. Like, just take my job. It was really funny. And then we just had this like really great rapport with each other. And even now, like if I'd run into him, he would say hi and all that stuff. He's always a good prof, but he was one of those profs where he wanted that to happen. Like intentionally, he wanted to see what would occur if he did this. And for 5 years, no one got up. No one said a word.
Wow.
See, I would have thrown my scene after the video. I would have been like, okay, now that that's played, sir, no trigger warning.
After the fact.
In front of everybody. Not just behind the scenes, in front of everybody.
I remember we had one lecture like that, and people, like, there was no warning whatsoever what we were gonna be looking at, and people just started walking out, and like halfway through the lecture, the prof's like, oh yeah, by the way, if you can't be here, or, if this is too much for you, you can leave. It was like, yeah, think half the people are pretty much gone, and I'm already out with one foot out the door, like, yeah, it was just,
I don't know, some profs, like, forget to give disclaimers, like, and, like,
I mean, because, like, it's so, like, casual to them to teach it, right?
Yeah, like, I don't know, I think some professors, like, they're just used to it, like, being like because of what they teach
and that
or whatnot.
mentality.
Yeah, they
The
forget.
weirdest one I think I've ever had was again there was no warning. The professor just came up to the class and was like, we're gonna watch a documentary today, and it was literally a documentary of her life. Like, literally, her personal life. And we were all like, how is this relevant to our life right now? Or to
Relevant
the
to our
course?
lesson?
But, like,
to
it actually
the
turned
class?
out to be relevant to the course that in some
shape or form.
Super loosely.
Yeah. And we were, so it was interesting, but I was just like, okay, so your name's in the title. So you want us to consume your content? It's like professors who, write a textbook and then they make you buy it for the class.
Yeah.
She's
So they
searching
get
for
something out
clout.
of it, but-
Yeah. Just
But
she's trying to pop off on YouTube.
yeah, I was like, you couldn't give us the link to watch it on our own time if we wanted to. Like,
I know, get those views up, you know what I mean?
anyway, it was.
So we're all trying to get, just try to get.
What
them.
I would recommend is get involved in, things
Clubs,
related.
how hell no.
No, in anything like that's, unique in the sense of
So clubs.
not clubs.
Loner club.
I would say no. Like sometimes they'll have events where they're related.
Like the wine tasting?
No, not wine and cheese. I'm talking about like different research projects or different presentations that they'll give or tours of certain places that you can go to that are related to your
oftentimes they'll do
field, or-
like what is it? One of the things.
So like webinars, basically.
Yes and no.
Yeah, but
kind of
like-
like TED
well,
Talks, but
So
on-
presentations, webinars, those kinds of things. So people
like,
with experiences.
At the college, they often have like these fairs where like they'll have like people from a certain field come in and like have little booths. And you
I've
can
been
talk
to
them.
those.
Or like like stuff like that. Or there'll be like events. Sometimes there's concerts. Sometimes there's talks, TED Talks that happen at the college. So like stuff like that.
I love TED Talks. Recently, my classes have been watching TED Talks, and I've been bored out of my mind because I've watched them all like already 3 times. So that they're making me rewatch them all over again. So I'm just kind of sitting in my class, and I'm like, okay, cool. Can you please unlock the Google Forms so I can get it over with?
You're like emailing the prof on assignment. I'm just trying to get through this. I've already seen this.
No, honestly, that was literally me earlier today. Like we watched like this this video of an African American woman who
because it's Black History Month.
Yeah, because it's Black History Month, and she basically talks about how a single story can lead to all this stereotyping. It had been like the 6th time I had watched that video. Every English class, I end up watching this video, and I had prior to watching it in all those classes, I had watched it on my own time. So
Trending on YouTube.
Watching it again, you can imagine how frustrated I was and how badly I wanted that Google form open.
Yeah, like it's stuff like that. And like also they do like gaming tournaments. Like they have like a Smash tournament. I don't know if they still do that because of like the pandemic and stuff like that. But like they used to have like all these game tournaments and all this stuff that happened.
I mean, like my homeschool has been doing like every Friday, I think, or Thursday at like 7. They do like an online meet where like you can play games and stuff like that.
Cool. I remember, but stuff like that they do. But like, I don't, like right now it's all up in the air. We don't even know if we're going to be at the actual college.
Yeah.
For all we know, we could all be going through a Zoom call, which would be very interesting because you're going to be in a Zoom call. I'm going to be in a Zoom call. Logistically, it's going to be interesting to figure out how to get it to work.
We're going to be pulling all this bandwidth, man.
goodness.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, whether it's online or hopefully it's in person, right? Because you get the full experience. But
I'm going to be fitted for an N95.
Oh, really?
Apparently.
You're going to get your own custom mask.
Then
I have to get
definitely going to be in person.
Yeah.
So, well, it's the field that you chose, right? So,
Yeah.
Going into medicine, for any of those wondering, the only one of us who decided to go into medicine. I'm out here
really intriguing.
trying to be a
that's why.
I
sociologist out here.
remember Dad, which of my kids is going to be a doctor?
And we're like, none of us, because none of us wanted to.
I contemplated, but then I was like, too much time.
Look, I could have done
I
it.
still have the opportunity.
I could have done it, but like, there's way too much, like, so much time goes by, and it's like,
you got to really want it to get it. You know what I mean?
If you don't want it,
if that's your passion, you're going to get it.
yeah. Like, see, but like me, I was like, I want to help people, but I want to help people medically. So I was like, and then I found something. I'm like, hey, look,
you're like, I don't want to be that guy. It's like, here's drugs, go better.
You couldn't have picked a better time because that area is booming right now. I mean, it's unfortunate that it is, but it's there's going to be lots of jobs for that.
It's like how drug dealers and pharmacists have the same occupation, selling drugs.
One went to school and one was like, I've been doing this since high school.
I've been doing this in my basement since like grade 9.
Street smart, okay?
Yeah.
So these methamphetamines. No, it's crazy.
No, we got these brand new hallucinogens. We don't even know what they're actually made of, but here you go. In a pharmacy, they'll actually tell you what's in it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time. We've talked about school, hallucinogens, and how bad professors can be and how great professors can be.
Yeah. Overall, I would just say enjoy it. Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy the experience. It's a growing experience. It's a rewarding experience. Will you have your life figured out when you're done? Probably not.
Yeah.
That's a very it's a misconception that unfortunately a lot of us tend to believe when we're going to finish school, going to get that dream job, right? And sometimes it goes that way, sometimes it
And
doesn't.
some of us finish school and we go back again.
Yeah, that too, right? There's always options out there, and you never know what life's going to throw at you. So.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap up here. Hopefully you guys, if you're teenagers or just starting college or university, hopefully you were able to grab something out of that. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Everything's always in the description, whether it be up, down, left, or right. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Click that bell notification depending on the platform you're on. And we might make a post on Instagram depending on how I feel.
Why does it matter how you feel?
Because it depends on how I feel. I don't care about all the statistical analysis stuff you can look at. But we'll catch you guys the next one. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.